Alright everyone, hello and welcome to Viewer VOD Reviews, where I'm going to be going in detail, analyzing your gameplay, and answering the questions that you sent me to hopefully help all of us improve in some way throughout this game. Now the things that you sent me and you wanted me to answer are when he should give up walking and run, and then how he can establish map control on both sides for defenders. This is harder now with the barriers being moved inwards, which I completely agree with. He said he picked up Valorant for the moment he got the key and he wants to improve as much as he can. This video is going to come from iToxic, and I believe he's bronze 1 at the recording of this video. Could be bronze 2 or 3, but I believe it's bronze 1 if I remember correctly. A couple of notes that I made, I wanted to talk about positioning and also how to do your role for your team and where you're going to be the most effective. Keep in mind I am picking out the bad things and criticizing those, and at the end of the video I'm going to be doing a sort of highlight reel to emphasize the things that you did really well, so stick around for that. So far he's covering for his Sage on B. You got his Phoenix rotating around through the backside and he has no one watching his mid. Could be really bad, and there it is. Oof. Let's go and get into the video. Alright, so first things first, I wanted to say that I completely agree with the point that you make at the very beginning of the round. Right about here, actually.
Fuck this barrier.
Completely agree. Well said, my friend. But I do want to say the one thing that really scared me about this round, that could have went really wrong, but it ends up going right, is the way you're peeking mid. So mid's the most important area on split. Keep that in mind. If you can have control of mid, you should take control of mid. But you're the only person peeking here. So if you die here to this Sova, who has peeker's advantage, then your team essentially loses the round. You lose all mid control, and it's going to be a 2v5 on some site. And then it's a retake after that. It gets messy. This is actually a really good rotate. I assume your team either calmed out that they were coming, or you heard the utility come in, yada yada yada. You had some inkling that it was going to come. That smoke should actually be a little deeper down the stairs. That's how I would throw that. If you're going to peek mid solo, you should probably throw the smoke down the stairs. That way you can actually do that, but you know, small thing. And I'll explain that later on in the video. I've got a spot where I want to talk about something like that. But right here, I wanted to show you, I think you saw the Phoenix rotating. I think that gave you a false sense of security. So mid's the most important point of the map. If someone comes through B, they're going to either kill the Sage or die to the Sage, and you're going to know, and it's about a 2-second rotate to get there from mid. But the only place that's not being accounted for was mid. Phoenix rotated all the way around the back. Mid was the only thing that wasn't accounted for whenever you left. If you keep mid accounted for, there is no blind spot on the map. You have full map control of everything you need control of. They can't rotate out because Phoenix, they can't rotate through mid because of you, and they can't come through B because of Sage. What you should do is, instead of trying to cater to what you think is possibly going to happen, keep that control of mid and minimize the chances that you lose the round, because the only way you lose the round is if Phoenix goes through, kills you in heaven, and then proceeds to take site and their team gets out on site. So just keep that mid control almost no matter what. If you know you're not useful mid, then you can leave it. But in that situation, it's a 2-second rotate. Just keep that control. All right, so next I wanted to look at round 4. I believe this is 4. So if you look at the setup that you guys have, you have Cypher Sage B, Phoenix Viper mid, and then Sova A. So your two hard site deniers, Sage and Cypher, are playing on site together. I don't think you need that much utility B. One of them people should be playing A with Sova, just to have some hard site denial. You do know that your Sova is the only person playing A. He dies. So at this point, you should be sprinting as fast as possible to take control of heaven, because on split, you need to have control of A heaven, B heaven, and mid. If they go to take B, you need to be able to rotate to B heaven. If they go to take A, you need to be able to rotate to A heaven. Because if they take control of site and A heaven, it's game over. And you'll see why in just a second. Phoenix mollies you off, that's troll. You probably should have rotated with them anyway. But in terms of when you should give up walking, so you see your entire team died from people in heaven because the angles in heaven are just much too strong. But whenever you want to give up walking, if you can slow walk and peek the site at the same time as your team, that's preferred. If you can get there while your team's still fighting, that's also okay. If you can get there before your team, that's even better. Just waiting. But if you're going to be late to the party, like you would in that scenario, your team would have already been on site and taken site if they were going to. You should have given up running, given up walking, and just got there to peek with your team. It wouldn't have mattered in that scenario, but that's how you should have played that. All right, so the next round I wanted to talk about is round 5. You actually throw a really cool one-way here. Kind of a fan of it. But I do think you're playing it incorrectly. And also I want to talk about maximizing your death here. I don't think many people are doing that in this game at the moment. They kind of panic whenever they know they're about to die. But we'll talk about that in just a second. So with the Sova Dart actually going, you could be peeking this entire time. It's relatively inconsequential here. But you see how far right you're playing on this one way? That is a very, very small gap to hit a shot through, especially when you can't see the person's head. The great thing about this one way is you can actually be all the way to the left, almost where the line is on the ramp. You can probably play about that far and it'd still be a one way. You see okay, I was right. So once you get to the line, you could see head level. That's when they can see you. So you want to be just a little bit to the right of that line. So this is a hittable shot. Somebody swings through here, they're dying. Yeah, I think you're just playing this one way a little too far, right? Trust your one way, because if you're going to play one ways, you have to be able to trust them. Obviously, your one way comes down and you end up getting a nice kill here. But you did panic with the ult. What you should do here is realize, okay, I'm dead. I have nowhere to run to. And you obviously had that thought process, but you thought, my ult, it's my panic button. It's going to get me out of this. In that situation, you figured they were going to push you. You had no way out. You should just sit there with your gun at head level, wait on them to push you. But I did want to point out, you had the frame of mind to actually throw your Q back up. You see he just popped his Q, which is, honestly, most people can't do that under pressure. But you had the frame of mind to pop your Q. So train yourself now. Whenever you pop your Q, that's when you swing. You should pop that one way, because they have to push through the one way now. And I assume one or both of them pop through the one way. Yeah, you see here one person actually pushed through. Assume that's the jet that actually killed you. So if you would have pushed out and swung on her, you probably would have killed her, because she would have been in your one way at that point. So just don't panic, maximize your death, realize I'm back into a corner, I'm probably going to die, let me try to get a kill now. Alright, so the next thing I wanted to show really quick, you're throwing your one-way B. That's actually not a one-way. I'll show you a better smoke to throw right there. That's actually a one-way for Garage in just a second. But you've got Viper, Sage, and Cypher playing B. Those are your three hard sight denials, which is honestly overdoing it. You got your Phoenix mid, you got your Sova A. Neither one of them have hard sight denial. If they push you like they did mid just there, that person's gonna die unless they end up getting a 5-man kill. And the round should go very bad from here. Sova actually ends up taking 2 1v1s and gets traded out on the third one, so it's 3v3, but the enemy just has much stronger positions with control of heaven, and the round just falls apart from here. You end up getting a pretty cool kill on the Phoenix right here, but I did want to fast forward just to say, at this point, you think you get timinged, so you continue to slow walk, thinking that someone's going to be around the pillar. You can't assume that you get timinged. If you assume that you get timinged, you just lose. If you get timinged, you lose also, but it's a very small % chance that you actually got timing. So in that situation, you know that there's 2 people left and the time's running down. You have to let go of that shift walk. Once there's like 20 seconds before the bomb's gonna blow up, you gotta let go of that shift walk and just full sprint, try to make a play if you're gonna make the play. Otherwise, just go save. So what you should have done there is you could tap the bomb and then slow walk over towards the heaven side, and then immediately go up the zip lines as fast as possible and try to go for a trade out. But that's what you should do there. Just let go of the walk whenever it starts getting later in the round, because you're forced to make a play then. If you continue to slow walk, they're going to peek back and you're going to die there. It seems like you got unlucky, but that's going to happen just about every single time. Alright, so really quickly, the lineup I wanted to show you is by phase wall. Tuck yourself off in the right. Get your smoke out. I'll go in game phase just so you can see. And then walk forwards on accident. What you're going to do is below this light just a bit, and then you're going to go all the way to the left in line with this, in the center of this line right here. Sorry, brain fart. Below the light in the center of that line, and then whenever you throw it, bounces and gets wedged. This is a true one way. I'll show you the 2 angles. Right here, you can see everyone all the way back there. You have all the vision here. They can't see you. You can see all of this. And then whenever you're on this side, you cannot see that pillar until you're literally all the way over here. You can start to see a foot, and then you can't see that until you are about right here. You can start to see the foot there. So you have all of this distance to walk, and from there you have all of this distance to walk until you're about here. True one way. Alright, so the final round I wanted to take a look at is round 11. I don't like the way you use your ult here, and I do think you're using your one way a little better here. You're playing a little more aggressively with it, but I think it's because you have more people here. You could have actually gotten that kill. You played it because of the angle you played. You could have gotten that kill. It was a reasonable one to get. You gave yourself the opportunity to. But I think I can pause here really quickly. So what I would do is ult a little deeper, like near the ulti or maybe to the left of that, even closer up on ramp just to be safer. But what you want is that smoke to bellow out all the way to, say, ropes near sewers. If that's the case, then they have to push through so much toxin to actually get to you that they're all going to be one hit, and there's no way they're going to want to do that. So they have two options: push through the smoke or rotate. Right now, they don't have those two options. They can continue to play A, kill people, or rotate. Right now you're scared of Sova, but with the ulti that you did, you're literally only protecting the bomb site, not protecting their route to the bomb site, which is what you want to cut off. You're still scared of the Sova here? You shouldn't be. You should be sprinting immediately to site to get there as fast as possible. Like I said earlier, the only time you're going to slow walk is if you can get there at the same time as your team. Right now, your team was on site fighting for 20 seconds or so when you could have been there. You could have been there for 15 seconds or 12 seconds or so, fighting with your team. You end up getting an extra frag, which is relatively inconsequential, is second to last round. But what you wanted to do there is sprint, get there so you can fight with your team. It doesn't matter if they know you're coming or not. If you're fighting with your team, you have a much better chance of winning than if you slow walk and try to take, pick up the leftovers. All right, so let's talk about attacker side. If I'm being completely honest, the way you played attacker side was really nice. You played B very well. You did lurk a little more than I would like to see you do, because Cypher should probably be lurking, but I don't think you were comfortable with your A and your mid smokes, or I don't think that you know them very well. But you were getting on site B very often and very effectively. And you just seemed a lot more confident. You were kind of doing your thing on B site. Your smokes were getting y'all on site, and then you were playing pretty well post plant. Yeah, I just think you're more comfortable B. But what I would suggest is you spend a lot of time learning those mid smokes. I have a lot that smoke off ropes and stairs and stuff like that. And whenever you were playing with your operator, you were dry peeking it, and you're getting pushed from really weird angles, which sometimes it worked out, sometimes you picked up the frag, but sometimes that's where you kind of fell flat playing mid. And then for A, you just don't know the smoke for heaven. You do a lineup that doesn't work anymore. Mine works, Tens works. You can look up either one of those. But not having that heaven smoked off is a real it's a bad thing for the round. But if you could take that knowledge that you have for B site and then learn that and play A and mid really confidently, then I think you would do really well on this map, and you'd be above and beyond, honestly. But yeah, that's how I feel about your attacker side.
Get fucked, dude.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun.